After a long day of work, Zoom meetings, or perhaps playing the new Animal Crossing, there's nothing like a couple glasses of wine to relax and unwind. Although most are satisfied with $5 chuck, the wealthy and elite enjoy spending lavish amounts of money on ultra-rare wines. Some pay exorbitant amounts to own a sought-after bottle for status, occasionally as an investment, or, unsurprisingly, often to be simply drank and enjoyed by a true enophile or wine lover. The price of wine can be affected by several factors, so we're going to investigate exactly what makes the top 10 most expensive wines ever sold so special. Go ahead, pour a glass of your favorite red, and join me. And don't worry, I won't judge if you're pouring from a box. Number 10. Chateau Lafite, 1787. $156,450. Thomas Jefferson, the third United States President and principal author of the Declaration of Independence, was also quite the wine connoisseur. He bought highly sought-after bottles from the regions Bordeaux and Burgundy during his time as the ambassador to France. Every now and then, a bottle claiming to be part of his personal collection will surface for auctioning, including this elusive red. Discovered 200 years after bottling in a Paris cellar, it bore Thomas Jefferson's initials. Quite literally, it had his name on it. Pretty hard to argue with that. Although there has recently been proof that the initials were forged. That may be of some comfort, considering the ill fate of this precious bottle. Publishing mogul Malcolm Forbes of Forbes magazine fame acquired the Chateau Lafite for a cool $156,450, sold at a Christie's auction, and soon after purchase, it was displayed at the Forbes Gallery. Misfortune struck when the halogen display lights dried out the cork, which was already slightly askew, and it fell into the bottle. The 2-inch descent of the cork into the wine bottle rendered the formerly priceless bottle worthless. Number 9. Penfolds Block 42 Cabernet Sauvignon Ampoule 2004, retailing at $168,000. When you think of fine wine, you naturally think of the European countries France and Italy. However, for number 9 on the list is a one-of-a-kind product from Down Under. Australia's famous winery Penfolds is based in Adelaide, a city in southern Australia. They took an artistic approach when creating this wine, focusing more on the luxurious presentation than the wine itself. The liquid is encased in a glass prism they call an ampoule, designed by 4 Australian craftsmen, including the internationally recognized glass-blowing artist Nick Mount. It retails directly from Penfolds for a whopping $168,000, an almost unheard-of retail price for a fine wine. Truly unique in its design, the ampoule bottle possesses no seal and no cork. In fact, it has no traditional cap. The blown glass wine bottle is seated in a carefully made wooden cabinet, giving it quite the stately presentation. In Penfolds' words, the ampoule provides a truly memorable experiential and sensory engagement. For the price, we sure hope so. The Penfolds staff recommend that buyers get assistance from senior winemaking staff to open the bottle, as to do so, you must break off the end, a small piece of wood. The operation can easily go awry in the wrong hands. A stunning showcase of winemaking, luxury, and fine art. The Cabernet Sauvignon possesses notes of black currant, dark chocolate, and licorice. Number 8. Chateau Margaux 2009 Balthazar, retailing for $195,000. Often in highly expensive items, the importance is in the details. No one knows that better than the Chateau Margaux. The Chateau Margaux is an extremely famous and prestigious winery in Bordeaux, France. It is known as one of the best wineries on the planet. The estate has been in existence since the 16th century, and they are known for their refined winemaking process. Quite a young wine for the price tag. It is a testament to their history and opulence. They produced only 6 bottles of their 2009 Balthazar, with several special touches. The 12-liter bottles are set in a custom oak box, symbolizing the oak barrels deep in the winery's ancient cellars. Gold letters grace the label, hand-engraved by goldsmiths. Buying a bottle doesn't only get you the wine, but rather a whole experience. The purchaser is flown first class, no less, to France to visit the chateau, receiving a private tour of the vineyard and cellars. This is followed by a dinner hosted by Paul Pontellier, chief winemaker and managing director of Chateau Margaux. Perhaps this fanfare does provide more bang for your buck, as it is retailing at $195,000. This Bordeaux was exclusively offered at Le Clos Dubai flagship store out of the Dubai airport, where 3 of the 6 bottles in existence have already sold. Talk about dropping money at duty-free. If you're lucky enough to get your hands on a glass, you'll experience notes of coffee, toast, almonds, black fruit, and florals. Number 7. Chateau Margaux 1787, priced at $225,000. Next on the list is yet another production of the famed Chateau Margaux, albeit a couple centuries earlier, all the way back in 1787. It was also claimed to have been part of Jefferson's personal collection, and like number 10 on the list, it also met an ill fate. In 1989, a New York wine merchant, William Solican, was the proud owner of the highly coveted Chateau Margaux 1787. He claimed the value was close to $500,000. To celebrate the arrival of the bottle to New York, Mr. Solican threw a special dinner at the Four Seasons Manhattan. The bottle was proudly displayed, but fate struck when a clumsy waiter fell and shattered the bottle completely. No one was ever able to take even a single sip. Fortunately, the wine was insured, but the insurance company valued it at $225,000 rather than Solican's projected $500,000, much to his dismay. Mr. Solican put the empty and broken bottle up for auction, beginning the bidding at $30,000. In a disappointing round of bids, it ended up only being sold for $100, which was donated to charity. The universe just seems to have a special vengeful spirit against Jefferson's old collection. Number 6. Chateau Lafite 1869, sold for $233,000. Next up on the list is a wine created by a winery owned by the Rothschilds, who are considered to be the richest family in the world, owning dozens of companies, wineries, and more around the planet. Chateau Lafite has been producing wine since the 17th century and has a reputation as being one of the greatest winemaking estates. The Chateau Lafite 1869 was the first to-be chateau bottled at Lafite and was the first vintage under the ownership of Baron James de Rothschild. All of this lends to its historical significance in the wine scene, furthering its value. 3 bottles of this elusive wine were put up for auction at Sotheby's Hong Kong in 2019. The auctioneers were unaware of just how famous the 1869 is in Asia, sought after as an extremely luxurious status symbol among the elite. Estimated prices ranged from $60,000 to $80,000, but an anonymous collector bought all 3 bottles for $233,000 each, spending a staggering $690,000 overall. Given the rarity of this item, you'll likely have to be invited to the anonymous buyer's house for dinner to get a taste, which is said to possess substantial cherry flavor, a bit of Roquefort, and a pleasant dry finish. Number 5. Shipwrecked Heidsieck 1907, sold for $275,000. This edition is invaluable due to its stupendous story, which has shocked wine lovers and historians alike. In 1916, a Swedish freighter was carrying wine, including a 1907 champagne, to Russia across the Baltic Sea. Some say the wine was meant for the army, others say the royal court, and others say still that it was destined for the Russian Tsar himself. It was the throes of World War I, and the unlucky boat was hit by a torpedo from a German submarine. For 80 years, the ship, along with the wine, champagne, and barrels of cognac, rested at the bottom of the Baltic Sea with no light whatsoever. It settled in silt an estimated 60 to 65 meters below the surface at around 4 degrees Celsius, which is, incidentally, the perfect conditions for a bottle of champagne to remain preserved. In 1997, a Swedish salvaging team found the sunken ship off the coast of Finland and retrieved its cargo. 2,000 bottles were saved. one bottle sold at an auction for $275,000, with the historical significance and unprecedented discovery bolstering the high price tag. But was it drinkable? Several bottles of the unearthed champagne have been taste tested, with some tasting like an incredibly mature champagne, with notes of roasted nut and toast. Another bottle, which most likely had seaweed seepage, tasted of oyster shell and French onion soup. Hopefully the auctioneer lucked into a bottle of the former. Number 4. Chateau Cheval Blanc 1947, sold for $304,375. Chateau Cheval Blanc is one of the most well-renowned wineries in the world, having received exclusive Premier Grand Cru class, an A rank, in classification of Saint-Emilion wine in 2012. Their 1947 Bordeaux is considered to be the best Bordeaux ever made, despite the unusual circumstances surrounding the grape's growth. In 1947, there was extremely hot weather, roasting the grapes in the chateau and rendering many of them to raisoning. Many other winemakers in the region struggled with the fermentation process, but Cheval Blanc went outside the box to salvage what they had. They used ice in their processing and changed some of their methods, and were able to produce a few vats of precious wine. It proved to be a blessing in disguise, as the technical flaws and bad weather gave it a distinct taste that can never be replicated. Famed wine critic Robert Parker has described the taste as mind-boggling. The 6-liter bottle of this unique Bordeaux was sold at a Christie's auction in Geneva for $304,375 to an anonymous private collector. Stunning auctioneers who estimated it would go for only around $150,000. Fun fact, in the Disney Pixar film Ratatouille, the dark and scary food critic Antoine Ego ordered a bottle of this famed 1947 Chateau Cheval Blanc to go with his meal. I suppose he's fit for a job with such refined yet expensive taste. The flavor is said to have notes of fruitcake, chocolate, leather, coffee, and Asian spices. Number 3. Chateau Mouton Rothschild 1945. As we reach the top of this list, we find yet another wine produced from a vineyard owned by the Rothschild family, acquired by them in about 1853. They're known for creating highly sought-after and expensive wines. Their 1945 is known for its historically prevalent labeling as much as its exquisite taste. Produced shortly after the end of World War II, the Rothschilds wished to commemorate the Allies' victory. They hired a young French artist called Philippe Julian, who based the label on British Prime Minister Winston Churchill's V for victory. This began a tradition at the chateau. Every new wine had a label designed by an up-and-coming artist. They don't get paid in money, but rather in 10 cases of the exquisite wine. Auctioneers were stunned when a bottle sold for $310,700 at a Sotheby's to a collector. Perhaps they were both a wine lover and a World War II buff. The label definitely gives the 1945 a special character, but the taste is fantastic in its own right. Given a perfect score by many wine enthusiasts, it has notes of exotic black fruits, tobacco, coffee, and Asian spices. Number 2. Screaming Eagle Cabernet Sauvignon 1992, sold for $500,000. Although it may come as a surprise, the number 2 most expensive wine on our list was produced in the United States. Founded in Oakville, California by a former real estate agent in 1986, Screaming Eagle possesses cult-like status amongst wealthy wine enthusiasts. Known for its small but exquisite yearly productions, they were put on the map by wine critic Robert Parker, who gave them a nearly perfect score, and they are now easily the most famous winery in the United States. Their 1992 production was only available for a limited time in 1995, making it even more coveted and rare. A 6-liter bottle was donated by Screaming Eagle for a Napa Valley charity auction in 2000. Billionaire David Lee won with a bid of $500,000. He had just sold his internet company for $3.5 billion and apparently was looking to expand his wine collection. Quoted by Reuters saying he spent a little bit at the auction, in reference to the $500,000 he spent on the wine. If you want to secure wine from the famed named California Winery, well, get in line. The waiting period to get on their mailing list has been estimated to take 12 years. But perhaps by then you'll have saved up enough to actually afford a bottle. The 2009 Cabernet has an opaque purple color and has notes of jammy black currant, toasty oak, cream, and tasty cassis fruit. Number 1. Romanée Conti 1945, sold for $558,000. Number 1 on the list is both expensive and extremely rare, known as the unattainable unicorn wine amongst wine enthusiasts and collectors. Jamie Ritchie, worldwide head of wine for Sotheby's, was quoted saying, "If you want to drink the world's most special bottle of wine, this is it." Romanée Conti, also known as DRC, is an iconic vineyard in Burgundy, France, and has much mystique concerning their process. They're known for having the absolute best Burgundies and are famous to the point of drawing criminals. Someone even held the vineyards for ransom, threatening to destroy the precious fields if he wasn't given €1,000,000. Given the status of the winery, the authorities took it quite seriously, and thankfully, the extortionist was caught. The 1945 Burgundy is extremely unique given the circumstances surrounding its growth. 1945 was quite a hot year, and frost reduced the salvageable grapes. Only 600 bottles were manufactured. It's extremely rare, and the weather conditions gave it a flavor that can't be reproduced. Additionally, this was the last crop of wine made by Romanée Conti for several years after its production. An infestation of pests destroyed the vineyard's growth, causing them to rip out the vines. According to Tom Gearing, managing director of Cult Wines Asset Management, this is the holy grail for wine collectors. Given the tiny production of just 600 bottles, the historical significance in France of 1945 at the end of World War II, and the fact the vineyards were ripped up and replanted after this vintage. The unicorn wine was purchased in 2019 for $558,000 by a private Asian collector at a Sotheby's sale in New York. He's surely the envy of wine collectors everywhere, and according to many experts, he does in fact intend to drink the wine. So, there you have it, the 10 most expensive wines ever sold. What about you guys? What do you like to drink when you're perched up by the fireplace? I don't know about you, but if I have another glass of this Balthazar 2009, they're gonna have to roll me out of here in a wheelchair. As always, I'm Mr. Luxury. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'll catch you next time. Pip pip de doodly doo.